Back in November of 2025, an executive order was announced that promised, well, a new era for humanity. It was called Project Genesis. But according to the source material we're looking at today, the story the public was told, that was just the beginning. See, the official story was all about progress, about breakthroughs. But buried just beneath all the press releases and the hype, there was a different story taking shape. And it all starts with this one single, unsettling question. So let's start with what the world was told, the official story. This is how Project Genesis was presented, as this landmark initiative for America, and really for the whole world. I mean, on the surface, who could argue with any of this? It was framed as this massive investment in our future. Solving incurable diseases, unlocking clean energy, a new genesis for science. It was ambitious, it was inspiring, and according to the source, it was the perfect cover. Because the moment you start looking past the headlines, a few details start to pop up that they don't add up. Details that start to shift the story from one about scientific ambition to something else entirely. First, there's the timeline. The project was scheduled to go live in just 270 days, by August of 2026. Now, for a project that's supposed to involve quantum computing and nuclear fusion, that is an unbelievably aggressive, almost impossible deadline. Then you've got the price tag, $500 billion. An absolutely astronomical sum that just raises immediate questions. What kind of research really needs that level of funding, and that fast? And this is where it gets really unusual. The US government took this unprecedented step of buying direct ownership stakes in the companies supplying the project. We're talking direct control over chip manufacturing, rare earth minerals, lithium. This wasn't just a partnership. The source claims it was a planned takeover of the entire supply chain. So who was really behind this $500 billion, 270-day sprint? Well, the source alleges that behind all the official government titles was a small, powerful group of tech elites, and they were driving a very, very specific agenda. The source material points to a specific network of influence. You've got these huge players in AI and cloud computing providing the raw tools. You've got the official government CTO, Michael Kratzios, running the whole show. But according to the source, at the very center of it all is his mentor and alleged ideological guide, Peter Thiel. Now, to understand the alleged motive here, we have to look at this philosophy, something known as the Dark Enlightenment. Its core beliefs, as the source describes them, are a complete rejection of democratic ideals. It basically argues that rule by a tiny, intelligent elite is better, that mass surveillance isn't just useful but necessary for social order, and this is the crucial part, that AI should be totally unrestricted, as long as it's in the right hands. Their hands. This alleged quote, supposedly from a private lecture, really puts the intensity of this belief into sharp focus. The source doesn't frame this as some political or tech debate. No, it's presented as a kind of religious crusade, where any attempt to regulate AI is seen as an absolute pure evil. Okay, so if the supposed goal is elite control and mass surveillance, what's the tool? The source material points to one company, one single system, as the technological heart of Project Genesis. Remember, the public narrative was all about science, but the direct involvement of the National Nuclear Security Administration, the NNSA, that signals a very different reality. This wasn't just about curing cancer. It was allegedly about building a next-generation system for warfare and surveillance. And the company that was allegedly tasked with integrating it all, with making sense of all the data, connecting all the systems, was Palantir Technologies, a company co-founded by Peter Thiel. To really get Palantir's role here, you have to see how deeply integrated it already is within the US government. According to the source, the company's software is already the backbone for intelligence gathering, mass surveillance, drone strikes, deportations, some of the absolute most powerful and secretive functions of the state. So here's the crucial point. Palantir's specialty is taking these massive, disconnected piles of data and weaving them all together to find patterns and, most importantly, predict future behavior. The source claims that with Project Genesis, its mission would expand from tracking specific targets to tracking literally everyone. And that brings us to the final part of this story. With the ideology, the money, and the technology all in place, what was the ultimate goal? What was Project Genesis really designed to create? Suddenly, that 270-day deadline starts to make a chilling kind of sense when you put it on a political calendar. The alleged goal was to have this unprecedented surveillance and data analysis system fully operational just 3 months before the US midterm elections. The potential to monitor, predict, and maybe even influence the outcome? It's just staggering. The source lays out this four-level transformation. It starts with a tech, a global surveillance network, with an AI trained on everything, including religious texts. This leads to a social shift, where people actually start turning to the AI for moral and spiritual answers. From there, it becomes political. The AI guides policy, and it predicts and prevents dissent before it can even start. The final stage is economic, with AI-driven monopolies consolidating all wealth, all power. And this is the end game, according to the source. The goal isn't just to influence humanity, but to replace its flawed, chaotic decision-making entirely. To build a system that provides all the answers, guides every single choice, and creates a perfectly ordered, perfectly controlled world. A digital god. So, the story of Project Genesis, as told by this source, is a chilling blueprint for control. And it leaves us with this final thought. In a world where a machine can give you seemingly perfect guidance on everything from your faith to your politics, what's the value of human intuition, of human freedom, of human error? What are the questions that kind of a system might not want us to ask?